Welcome back to the Riichi Mahjong guide. In the last video, we discussed the basic shape of a Mahjong hand, the different basic patterns of tiles you might see in a hand, and also I explained an exercise that can help you get a little bit more used to playing the game. But Mahjong isn't just a game about drawing tiles and making a hand by yourself. It's a game that you play against 3 other players who are also racing to accomplish the same goal as you. If you're using an app or a video game to play, this part isn't really necessary, but it's good to know. Today we're going to be talking about setting up the game. Alright, so first you have to decide where you're sitting. So this is actually an important part of the game. Each seat has a designated win depending on what round it is. If you go to tournaments or anything like that, they'll have their own way of determining the seating, but the easiest way to do it is to just take one of each of the win tiles, shuffle them around, and then have everyone pick one to determine the order in which they're sitting. Alright. So east is the main one. East is the most important wind, and I'll explain this a little bit later. But for now, let's just see how the winds rotate around the table. South is always to the right of east. West is always across from east, and north is always to the left of east. So it's backwards from how it is on a compass, but I mean, you get used to it. So the order is east, south, west, north, and it goes around counterclockwise as you can see. Alright, once everyone's seats are determined, it's time to shuffle the tiles and set up the wall. The way you shuffle doesn't really matter as long as no one can tell where any of the tiles are. It's kind of difficult to shuffle with all the tiles face down the entire time, so it's usually okay if a few tiles flip face up. You just have to shuffle to the best of your abilities. Alright, so everyone got their wall set up already, so now it's your turn. What you've got to do is you got to take 34 tiles, and you got to stack them up into a wall that's 17 long and 2 high. If you're slow at first, don't be intimidated. It's natural when you're just starting out to have trouble setting up the tiles. They emphasize this in Legendary Gambler Tetsuya a lot, but usually you'll just have the 2 rows of 17 and stack them up like that. If you're not that confident, you can just push up 1 row and then just stack the tiles little by little on top of it. It's not a big deal as long as the wall comes out okay. So at the start of every game, it's East's job to roll the dice. Usually 2 dice, but 3 is okay as well. And that determines where the wall is broken to start drawing tiles. So I'm going to toss 2 dice. Alright, so we rolled a 7. The way you decide where to break the wall is you count starting with yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since you've decided to take apart West's wall, you count from their right-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You make a little break in the wall and you start drawing from the other side. For the first part of drawing your starting hand, you're going to draw 4 tiles at a time, 2 stacks of 2. And everyone else will do the same. Next is south, west, north, and then you again, east. You'll remember that you only start with 13 tiles, so once you get to 12 tiles, you just draw 1. Everyone else does the same. And then as east, you'll draw 1 additional tile, the first draw of the game, to make your hand 14 tiles. Usually this is done at the same time as drawing your 13th tile. Just to speed up the deal, but it doesn't really matter. If you're just starting out and you're not comfortable with that, it's not a big deal. Once you've got your tiles, you can look at them and organize them however you like. Of course, you can only look at your own tiles and not the other player's tiles. The way most Mahjong tiles are made are so that they can stand on their own, so you can just flip them up facing you and organize your hand however you like. Alright, and there's one last step to do before the game actually starts. The tiles on the back end of the wall, from where you started drawing. These 14 tiles here, that's called the dead wall. Tiles are never drawn from those 14 tiles except in special circumstances, which we'll go into in another video. And also one tile from the dead wall is flipped face up to indicate Dora. The tile you flip face up is 3 from the left end from that player's perspective. So they flip that tile face up, and that tile serves as an indicator. The Dora indicator tile indicates the Dora, as you might have suspected. The Dora is a special tile that changes each game that is worth extra points if it's in your hand. It's the next tile in sequence after the Dora indicator tile. For the winds, it goes east, south, west, north. So in this case, with the west showing, the north would be the Dora. If the north is showing, east is the Dora, and so on. As another example, for numbered tiles, it's much easier. It's just the following number in that same suit. So here the 7 pin is showing, or the 7 of circles. So that means the 8 of that same suit, the 8 of circles, is the Dora, and is worth extra points just by having it in your hand. As you might suspect, if the 9 is showing, then the 1 of that suit is Dora. If a dragon tile is showing as the Dora indicator, the next one in sequence is the Dora. For the white dragon or Haku, the Dora is the Hatsu, or the green dragon. If the Hatsu is the indicator, then the Chun, or the red, is the Dora. And if the Chun is showing, then the Haku, or the white dragon, is the Dora. It goes in alphabetical order, either in English or in Japanese, so it's easy to remember. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and thank you so much for watching.